Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're into stories where karma serves cold, hard justice, then you're gonna love today's video. I've got 3 jaw-dropping Reddit revenge stories lined up, and trust me, they're wild. What would you do if you found out your wife was cheating? Most people might just leave quietly. But this guy, he brought the whole damn house down on her affair partner. And it's legendary. Cheat on your wife with mine? I will burn your life to the ground. Way back in the early 2000s, I began to suspect that my wife was up to something. Our 2 kids were about 4 and 6, still young, but not so young they couldn't tell you something about what had happened in their day. They started talking a lot about staying with my wife's parents during the day, which wasn't really that strange in and of itself. But since they lived about 90 minutes away, doing so 2 or 3 times a week seemed a bit much. That was basically every day she wasn't working at her part-time job. When I asked her about it, she denied it, but was never a good liar. So I started tracking the mileage on her car, and sure enough, she was driving an extra 400 or so miles per week. I knew some shit was going on. Then one day I sat down at the computer, and she had left a sticky note with her AOL password written on it next to the keyboard. I could not resist and logged in to read her emails and saw a few email exchanges between her and her college BFF, where they discussed how my wife was regularly fucking one of her ex-boyfriend from high school. No mention of details about him other than my wife also talking shit about his wife, making fun of how she'd gotten fat after having kids. Anyway, I printed out these email exchanges and stashed them. I still needed to know the details, so I called a friend who was a cop, and he suggested I call a guy he knew that had left the force to become a PI. Ron was great. I paid his retainer and gave him the emails and what little I knew about my wife's activities, and he figured out exactly what she was doing. His report detailed with photos and times, dates, locations, all about how she would take the kids to her parents, then go meet this guy for lunch. Then they'd go to a dumpy motel for a few hours, after which she'd pick up the kids and return home. At this point, I hired a divorce lawyer. My parents cheated on each other, and the fallout absolutely fucked mine and my siblings' childhood. It was something that was totally unacceptable. I also asked Ron to find out what he could about this guy. Ron absolutely came through. I learned his name, Bob, that he was married and had 3 kids. I also found out that he worked as a vice president of sales for his father-in-law's business. At this point, I had my lawyer draw up the divorce papers. I also asked Ron for a couple more copies of his report, and one more thing I wanted him to do for me. On the same day, I had my wife served with the divorce papers at her work. I had Ron meet with this guy's wife and show her everything he'd found out. She seemed nice, and I figured that she deserved to know what her dear hubby was up to. What she did with that information was up to her. While the information about my wife's infidelity didn't really matter in my divorce proceedings, Bob's wife did a real number on him. According to the publicly available court documents from the divorce and other related proceedings, she cleaned out their joint account, took the kids, and left. As soon as her dad found out what he'd done, Bob was fired, and since her parents actually owned the house where Bob and his wife lived, he also got evicted. Their divorce was ugly, lots of fighting in and evidently out of court. I guess Bob went to the house and started arguing with his wife, and it escalated to the point her brother stepped in and Bob got his nose broken. There were restraining orders, a few more incidents with police reports, criminal charges, jail time, and so on. I can't find Bob on the internet anywhere these days. Last I heard, he'd left the state, and his ex-wife did okay. She went to work at her dad's company and took over after he retired. As for me, my ex and I got along well enough. I didn't engage with her on anything that wasn't related to the kids, and now that they're both adults, I don't talk to her at all anymore. I don't hate her or anything, but I only care in the context that she is my kids' mom and is important to them, nothing beyond that. Honestly, this man handled it like a genius. He stayed calm, collected the receipts, and let the truth ruin the cheaters. The fact that he didn't even need to scream or fight, just let the facts speak, that's next-level revenge. Bob really lost everything, and the best part, he did it to himself. Now, if you thought that was messy, wait till you hear this next one. It's not about cheating, but about a so-called friend who didn't know when to back off, and it spirals fast. Imagine being harassed for months by your boyfriend's clingy female friend, even after she gets blocked. Sounds crazy? That's because it is. Am I in the wrong for blocking my boyfriend's girl best friend? I've had a situation, and I want to know if I'm in the wrong or not. I met my boyfriend last year in August, and since the day I met him, he was friends with this girl. For obvious reasons, I am not using her real name, but we can call her Layla for now. Anyways, he's been friends with this girl for around 3 years, and they seem close, but it never really bothered me because we were not together at the time. When I met her, she was really sweet to me, but she didn't like me. She would tell my boyfriend talking stage at the time to sleep with her friends or to not get with me because I'm a bad person. When he told me about this, I was really confused because I thought she liked me, but I guess not. Fast forward a few months, and me and my boyfriend were now officially dating. Naturally, he distanced himself from Layla because he was in a relationship. At this point, she was like with him, and he was like with her. Early on, I picked up a few weird things from her. She would try calling him every day while she had a boyfriend who honestly does not deserve to put up with the stuff he does from her. She would say stuff like, "I miss you," or "When are you going to come see me next?" Myself and him both thought her behavior was weird, but it affected me a little more than what it affected him because I felt uncomfortable with them being friends. Quick introduction: Layla was the type of girl who was friends with every boy you could name, unless they had girlfriends and respected that. Being best friends with a female is not okay when you're in a relationship, or if they thought she was annoying for being a pick-me and acted weird. Naturally, I tried my best to get along with this girl because one, I did not want to seem controlling in my relationship, and two, I didn't want to cause problems. A few months into the relationship, I was getting sick of her behavior, but I never said anything to avoid conflict. It was an ongoing thing of her asking my boyfriend to come over, then him inviting me. Last minute, she would always cancel and make up excuses, like my mom said only one person can come over and stuff like that. It never bothered me because I knew he would never hang out with her without me being there, and he barely spoke to her online either. She would consistently call him, and half the time he would answer or let it ring out. The whole canceling last-minute thing carried out for 2 months, then she had planned to invite a lot of people over, and obviously she invited my boyfriend. He responded with, "Yeah, sure, what time do you want us to come over?" And she responded with, "Oh, my mom said only 5 people can come over, and there was already 4 there. The fifth being my boyfriend." He said, "Nah, I'm good," then hung up on her. An hour or so passes, and we get a message from someone who was there at her house saying, Layla was lying. Her mom never said a certain amount of people going, "She just doesn't want your girlfriend there." Naturally, I was like, what the hell, and told my boyfriend to block her. After a few hours of back and forth, he eventually did, thankfully. After that, I was happy that she wasn't going to be in mine or his life ever again. But boy, was I wrong. I proceed to get added on every single one of my social medias, same with him, so we block her on everything. Then she gets our mutual friends to call us or text us going off saying, "Why did you guys block Layla?" and being nasty. We ignored all the messages, then she went to messaging us on people phones, blaming me on why my boyfriend blocked her. She would use her boyfriend's phone on a daily and message myself and my boyfriend going off at us for 3 months straight after we had both blocked her. We told her to piss off and that we clearly didn't want to talk to her. After that, she stopped, but we would get prank calls every day and night on no caller ID, just being awful towards me and being nice to my boyfriend. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out who it was calling. Whenever I run into her in public, she gives me the meanest and dirtiest looks. I'm pretty sure she hates me. Anyways, I just want to hear people's opinions and let me know if I was in the wrong or if I acted appropriately for the situation. Layla was giving pick-me energy from the start. Honestly, blocking her was overdue. And the fact she harassed you for 3 months afterward? That girl needs help. Props to your boyfriend for eventually cutting her off. But she never respected boundaries, and you had every right to protect your peace. All right, for the last story, let's talk about the kind of revenge that doesn't come loud, but creeps in slowly, year after year, and absolutely destroys someone's life. The long game of revenge. I'm not a revenge expert, but I am very patient. That's probably why a friend of mine sent me here to share how a little patience, a sprinkle of spite, and some flowers ruined a man's entire life. 7 years ago, I finally bought my own place. I'd spent a decade saving, working my ass off, dreaming of having a home that was all mine. Being a single buyer meant making some compromises, and I ended up purchasing a unit on a shared block. But I was smart about it. I made sure it was a freehold title, not strata. Strata titles come with a mess of rules, bylaws, and people, and I'm a private person. After months of searching, I found the perfect place. The ad said it was freehold, my lawyer double-checked, and everything looked good. The real estate agent was local, friends of friends kind of thing. And while I didn't know him personally, that gave me some confidence. 5 months in, the neighbor knocks on my door about insurance for the shared walkway. Fair enough. But when I looked at the policy, it was for strata insurance. I was confused, really confused. Turns out the property was actually a strata title all along. My lawyer was shocked, and while he tried to fix what he could, the damage was done. So I requested a sit-down with the agent. I came prepared emails, listings, everything that said freehold. He refused to admit fault, wouldn't offer anything to make it right. I even tried to meet him halfway, said when I go to sell, he should cover the cost. He said no, offered me $1,000 to go away. I declined. I could have gone to court. The mediator told me I had a case, but at the time my health wasn't great. And honestly, I decided to get creative instead. So I waited and planned, found his Facebook, saw photos from a boys on tour trip he'd taken months after my purchase, tracked down his home address through business records. And on the anniversary of the sale, every year for 6 years, I sent flowers to his house with the same message. Dear real estate agent, remembering you on this, our special day. She has your eyes. Love, L. Each year, the note was a little different, but always creepy enough to make him squirm. I even sent postcards from the country he'd gone to, the one from his boys' trip, always signed, Love, L. Fast forward to 3 weeks ago. A friend of a friend tells me the guy's divorced, lost his home, and doesn't work in real estate anymore. Apparently, his wife finally connected the dots. Those flowers? That weird date that rolled around every year? He confessed to cheating. And the cherry on top? Turns out, a year before I bought the place, he had cheated on his wife during that trip, brought back an STD, gave it to her, lied about it. So when those yearly flowers started showing up, the date lined up a little too perfectly. Now he's lost his marriage, his business, and a whole lot of money. Do I feel guilty? Sometimes. But then I remember the smug way he brushed off my concerns. And I think, karma like me is patient, spiteful, and absolutely ruthless. And there you have it, 3 stories, 3 different flavors of revenge, all with one thing in common. Karma doesn't miss. Whether it's catching cheaters, shutting down toxic friends, or slowly unraveling a liar's life, it always comes back around. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and comment below which story had you the most shook. Got your own revenge tale? I'd love to read it in the comments. Until next time, stay petty, stay brilliant, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.